Hello. Thanks for joining. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. How far now? You're enjoying your evening. All right. Thanks for joining. Great to have you all here. It's gonna be a very, very explosive session. Very explosive. So hold on a bit. All right. Here we go. Okay. It's gonna be a great moment. So today, basically, we're talking about building and sustaining a healthy relationship. Now, these couples are wonderful couples, right? And I'm glad to have them today. And there's a lot that's going to be said today, a lot to learn today. And I want to believe that everyone who'll be watching the live would gain something. That's the purpose of all the sessions we've been having, for someone to learn something. Building and sustaining a healthy relationship. So the question would be, what is a healthy relationship? How do we define a healthy relationship? So if we have an healthy relationship, that means we definitely would have an unhealthy relationship. So what makes the difference between healthy and unhealthy, right? So thank God, they've been married for some years now. There's so much to learn from them. As a couple, they've been working together. They've been together for a long time, have kids, they're in the ministry together. So we'll be talking about so many things, from the differences to building relationships to how to sustain it. Building is one thing, sustaining is another thing. So how do you build to start with? Then how do you sustain, right? Because it's not about starting the race, but it's about completing the race. That's the most important thing, completing the race. So before my guest joins me, let me send them the link. Let me see. All right. Okay. So they'll be joining me very soon. It's gonna be a great moment. So much to learn today. Wonderful. So much to learn today. I want to learn.
Hello.
Great. Happy Sunday.
Hi, George.
How you doing now?
You. I'm good. How are you? This is your dressing day. Have you guys resumed church in Paris?
Yeah, we have. And
Okay.
I just, that's why I'm still cacked up and stuff like that. Many of that say I can't dress past my guests.
No. Fine. It's your floor now. It's your platform. Right on.
You're looking fresh. What do you eat? Like what do you eat? How do you?
This lockdown is profiting some of us. Please.
No, it's obvious. It's obvious because I mean, you can't be looking fresh like this. I have a friend of mine. He was fair before, like you, but now we don't even understand his color anymore.
Is he
You
in
see?
Nigeria?
Yeah, he's in Nigeria, so you're in the same country, and then your own is
Eh?
different. You know.
I won't say anything. I beg before your friend will come and look for me, please. Oh.
They should
Sorry.
look for you, so at least they get to collect the recipe. How do you cook your egusi soup? Do you even eat the egusi? Because your face doesn't look like someone that eat the
Oh,
egusi soup.
George, please free me, oh, free me.
Maybe you drink tea, all those fresh kind of
Free
stuff.
me, free me, free me.
Tea and pancake. Ah.
Oh my
you know.
goodness. Sorry. My husband will join us soon. He actually just came in. He went to facilitate a wedding introduction. So he went to bring a second chair to join me. So he's
Wonderful.
coming.
No, we're patiently waiting. He has to be on the seat. So how's everything going?
Very well, thank God. Very well. Things are kind of back to normal in quotes over here. I mean, we're just working around what we have on ground. But we're doing good. We're doing very well.
That's great. That's great.
Okay, let me put you on hot seat. This one that you haven't harassing me. Do you have a girlfriend, George? And you heard me loud and clear. You
are breaking somehow.
Now, so don't talk now. You know what happened the last time before it starts breaking through.
Yeah, definitely. I do.
Okay. I see why you're taking this thing even more personally than normal.
Man, we really need to talk about this because the way people are having relationship issues, the divorces. So at least one needs to just sit down and just think, what is even happening? It seems this marriage building is catching fire. So let's get to ask from those who are in the building and their own room is, still cool. So things like that. Because, the news we are seeing, the news we are reading, it's somehow frightening, I would say. Yeah. We are seeing a lot of domestic violence. We are seeing a lot of infidelity. In fact, I was reading one story. I think was it not last week or last 2 weeks, and this couple divorced after about a month. A month. Just imagine the resources that was put into the whole thing. Then your time from the courting, everything. Then you just throw everything away. So
what could have happened? Jeez.
That's what we are. In fact, that's what we're going to talk today.
Stories like this that people hear and they're like, "Abegu, let me just day my day. Let's marry."
Exactly.
So let me be a playboy or playgirl. Or
I'm telling you.
Yeah. But the thing is, there's a template, and and if we start working outside of that template, we're going to run into difficulties. We're going to run into unforeseen circumstances, and we're not going to be able to handle it, and so we're going to break off. Now, so even for those of us that know the template, which is Jesus Christ, and I've said it here before from Ephesians 5, even for those of us who have the template, it doesn't mean that sometimes are still not tough or difficult or tricky or unforeseen or whatever. Those things, the same things that have happened to people that divorce, some of them have happened to people that are still married as well. So the difference is the perspective you have that helps you deal with it. Yeah. Jesus himself had trials and tribulations. He didn't call off his time on earth before the Father called him off. People wanted to kill him. People betrayed him, quote and unquote, cheated on him, lied against him, threw him, wanted to throw him in jail. They did all sorts of things to Jesus for the sake of, quote and unquote, his marriage to the bride. But there was a template, there was a prescription, there was a laid down path. And so because he had that template and he understood the template, the Bible says that for the joy that was set before me, I endured the cross. So there's some things, I'm not saying your marriage should be enduring, but there's some things you have to endure, take, understand, learn, grow through so that you get to the point of that joy that is to come. If you quit at every point of trial or tribulation and you don't go through that process of love, of learning, of all the fruits of the Spirit coming, patience, goodness, love, long-suffering, faithfulness, meekness, if you don't have that fruit, you cannot bear the fruit of a good marriage. So that template is very important. All right, with these few words of mine, can we now welcome husband here, pastor, singer,
honorable husband,
writer, Author, let me do your work for you. Author,
Wonderful.
boy,
We
father,
salute you.
Pastor Dami. He's judging
Great.
my phone, that my phone quality is not good. That's what he's doing right now.
Just on the lights.
I know that's what he's doing.
Great. Nice to have him. Let him turn on the light. I need to ask him 1 or 2 questions like that.
Hey, this light, the light is too bright, so.
Hey, Bele, you're shining so bright, shine bright like a diamond.
Oh, George, so you're free me. I'm giving you that. I'm not answering questions today. I'm here for fine girl support.
Wonderful. Fine girl support. All right. Pastor, good afternoon.
How are you doing? Good to see you.
I'm great.
This is George.
George.
Youth president, big boy, fine boy.
Don't whine me now. If I start, you sound I should leave it alone.
See him all cacked up.
Has it even during lockdown?
Church has resumed over there, so we went to church today.
You see, okay. Thank God you explained yourself, because you already saying I cacked up.
You've been cacking up even in your house to play piano. You're cacking up inside your house. I've been seeing you.
Now, wow. Hey, Pastor, are you seeing that?
I'm hearing it.
You're hearing it. Pastor, welcome. This is the first time I'm having you.
Thank you so
In fact,
much.
I said this time around, I must have you on this program. I just want to use the both of you to round up my session on relationships. Let's start from the grace on your life. She's one of us now. You are still in the process of becoming one of us. So I think very soon she will have to come and visit us here also. So we won't just be seen like this.
Yes, sir.
Should make that happen.
So we thank God. Well, it's a great thing you're doing, sir. It's a great thing. I see some of your messages on Instagram. I mean, it's always on point. It's always on point. And you're into music as well. Same here. I'm into music. I think when I come down to Nigeria, I need to come and pay you a visit.
Are you coming back to Nigeria?
When next are you coming? Because people just travel and don't come back.
Well, I should come visit anytime from next year. I should come visit. So I'll come to the house. I'll come to the church, then I'll come to the house. I need to eat what she's eating, because we don't know why she's getting this fresh. No, now. No, you don't even have to talk yet. Let Pastor talk. Pastor, I don't know what she's eating. She's getting fresher. The people are complaining of hot weather, hot sun, hot dissing. My fair friends are getting darker, but she's getting brighter. What is happening? We need to know.
Glory of God.
Wonderful.
It's very fine.
Wonderful. See the way she just shining her teeth beside. My God. Oh my God. Pastor, thank you for joining us today. The first question I would like to ask is, how did you meet our sister? How did it all start up? How did the whole thing began?
I was praying 21 days.
Wonderful.
21 days.
Dry
fast. And then an angel just appeared, and I said, "See one picture." Because I don't really understand what you're showing me right now. I'm sorry. Like the person that this pastor is saying is boo. Okay, so this story is quite long, so let me just keep it very short. I was supposed to have graduated from school, right, as the University of Lagos. But I didn't graduate at the time I should have. So where I was living before, I was living with a prof in this boys' quarters. So the man was very upset, amongst other things, not just because I had failed my courses, but amongst other things. It was just really, really upset. It's like, why are you even doing that? So he bounced me literally. You know what that means? He evicted me from the house.
Wow.
Abruptly. So I was in a situation where I was temporarily homeless. Temporarily. So I called friends. 2 of them had just gotten a new place. I don't want to go into describing how new that place was, but it was a very, very funny accommodation. So I knew that I couldn't stay there for longer than a few nights. Maybe I need 2 nights there or something. I couldn't survive. Maybe 3 nights. Yeah. So eventually I had to move in with another friend. But I remember that the year before, one of my friends had told me about a private hostel, where it was supposedly for big boys. So either people that just finished school. Yeah, supposedly. It was quite expensive at the time. And I'm thinking about it, was like 180K or so for a year. This was some years. Like 10 years.
Yeah. About 2000, more than 10 years.
More than 10 years ago.
2007.
Yeah, so it was, I mean, come to think about it, that's almost like 700K or so now. Something like that.
Yeah.
So it was quite expensive. So it was for people who had finished school but didn't have enough money to rent their own proper 2-bed, 3-bed kind of thing. It was serviced. There was a generator that ran for 8 or 10 hours a day. You know, people, so it was like a big boy kind of place. So thankfully, I had some money, because I had been exposed to some financial intelligence before then. So I had some money that I could use, and then they allowed you to pay, was it quarterly at the time? There was sometimes more, So I can't remember how much it was, but I was able to pay for it. And I settled in with my friends and all of that. And then one of those days, glory, hallelujah. I just saw a vision of glory. I was talking to my friend too, and then I just saw one angel walking past. And even though I wasn't facing the gate where she was coming through the corner of my eye.
You spotted it. The antenna was sharp.
I could see the glory. So I looked and I was like, what's going on here? And so that's basically how we met Sha. In a nutshell.
Interesting. And did she do shakara in the first, the first few days?
But I didn't approach her from, I want to marry you. That was not it. If we go into that story, there's another
wonderful.
Another part of the story. But I just approached her as someone that, in fact, I didn't think I was going to marry her the first day. People say that the first day I saw you, I knew I was going to marry you. So I knew that I wanted to be really, really, really close to her. Really, 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 really close. But I didn't want to marry you at that time because, quite honestly, I was in a relationship around that time. Yeah, even though the relationship was dying anyway. So, so I wasn't thinking marriage. I was thinking, oh, she looks good. I like her. She speaks well. I spoke to her that day. Hi, what's up, TJ?
Yeah.
So I'm going to be friends, but I didn't know how close the friendship was going to be. So, but then we got close. The shakara she was doing was not shakara of, so you want to. She didn't really have a chance.
What do you mean I didn't have the chance to do that?
It wasn't the case of I asked you out that you were now doing shakara. What I meant by you didn't have a chance to do was that by the time I was now ready to make the move, you were already in love as well.
I was already in love, but
even though
every time we say this story, it's always different. Our narrative is always different.
No, this is what I mean. I'm not saying she just said, hey, come and marry me. She didn't even, according to her, she didn't like me initially, according to her.
What do you mean, according to me? As I did not call. No, I liked him as a person, but not romantic.
Exactly.
Yeah, we are saying the same thing.
Yeah, so when you tell the story, she let people know that I liked him just as a person.
Yes,
but you said it like, this one wasn't really.
Is anybody okay? We are people that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a gradual build of friendship. It was really friendship. That's what it was. Yeah, and then it became very close. We met in March. By like August, September, we're very, very close. But we didn't make things official till the next February. March. Yeah. So.
Wow. That's interesting. So okay, I think the baseline now is who fell in love first. I know she.
Of course.
Point at yourself so that they won't think
who fell in love first. I did. I believe I did. Yeah.
You believe? Okay. All right. Okay. So
because you know that it's also the place of honesty. When I say honesty, I mean admitting something.
So maybe I was really in love in my mind, but I didn't admit to myself.
Exactly. So I was the first to admit and express.
Samora, please leave this Insta live now. Samora, leave this place.
Exactly. Oh. I didn't really like you at first. That's like the usual caption. I didn't really like it at first, you know. But we know. It's okay. It's okay. So
why don't we fast forward to the part? Sorry, you asked your question. When it was now time to get married, there was a point in the relationship where I was now the one that was convinced that this man is the man I'm going to marry.
Absolutely.
So there was a time when it was as if he wasn't sure, he was getting cold feet, he wasn't, and he was talking somehow. I'm like, nope, this is not happening. So yeah, we had to discuss. I had to give him time out. I had to pray and cry a bit. But I was very sure that, yeah. So me too, I had my own time.
Okay, so you got the signal of marriage before he did.
But no, he got, funny enough,
got it.
He got the signal early. He was the one that he was the one that taught me how to come into a relationship with the intention of getting married. I was never there before. I dated so many other guys before. My own was, let's see how it goes. If we end up marrying, fine. If not, fine. But when he came into the relationship, it was marriage. So when he now started getting cold feet, not because he didn't like me or he thought he was in a wrong relationship. Maybe he will explain to you later. Maybe it was just a man thing. It was just a man thing. I mean, oh my God, so this is really happening. It got to that point. Me, I was like, no, I'm marrying you. This is happening. I don't know what you're saying right now. Sort yourself out, but this is happening. Yeah,
wonderful.
So, yeah.
Wonderful. So, okay. So at what point, okay, what were the indicators that made you say, okay, this person is the right person for me and I'm going for this person?
As in for me, so number one is that, well, in no particular order, but the first thing that attracted me to her was her beauty. I don't like to deceive myself. Of course, as human beings, maybe 1 out of 100 times, there will be self-deceit in the matter. But in my conscious mind, I'm not given to... So one of the things I already knew was that I can't marry somebody that is not fine. As in my fine, as in like...
Very legit. That's a fact.
By fine, as in not just like, yeah, okay. I mean, like, fine that you get my attention in the crowd. Why? Because generally things that I find, I mean, what's the word? I'm attracted to fine things, not just fine human beings.
Interesting.
It's well done, maybe graphic design, floral arrangement, painting, all of that. So how much I won't marry flowers. I won't marry songs or designs of flowers. For a human being. So if I appreciate beautiful things normally, then I have to be very fine. Yeah. And fun enough, there have been times where I saw her, but I didn't know she was the one. Maybe like I saw her, like, this was years ago, but I'm sure it still happened now. And in my mind, I was like, who's this fine girl? And then it happened to be her. So she passed the test, if you get what I'm saying. Beauty catch me unawares when I didn't know it's you.
Interesting. But no, you actually have those lines. Yeah, hitting it well. It's okay.
So yeah, continue after beauty.
So there was that. And number two was that she was very friendly, warm, and hospitable. Yeah. So like, it wasn't just the kind of warm of, oh yeah, my space, but I felt like it was coming from her heart, like it was genuine. Because don't forget, I'd been a pastor for years before I met her. So I've been exposed to different kinds of people. Now, she didn't know that I was a pastor, which was a big, for me, that was a big selling point. What I mean by that is, though she didn't know I was a pastor, she treated me with respect and honor and appreciation and all of that. So it gave me a great sense of security that I'm not marrying somebody who's just like my fan. Oh yeah, pastor. Because I had a lot of people around me then, men, guys and girls, who were my fans. You people that say, like I went to Unilag, and anybody you knew Unilag between like 2003 and 2008, just say, you must know Pastor Dami, that kind of thing. Almost anybody. So I had a huge fan base, and she didn't know I was a pastor. She didn't know that part of my life at all. Number three was that we could communicate intellectually. And for me, I'm very big on intellectual communication. So I think I was working on a big book then. So I would ask her, what do you think about this and that? And she was very intelligent, you know.
I was.
She is very intelligent and responsive on that level. So it was never a case of you ask her a question, she's not looking like...
That's true. Yeah, I mean, from the way she talks, you know, she's very sound intellectually.
Very, very, very.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
I'm just whining you. I'm whining you, John. Papa,
Yeah,
Why
continue.
my wife?
Oh, okay. Sorry, I've forgotten that both of you are here. I'm not whining you. I'm serious.
So in my absence, you can whine my wife.
I'm going to report that the G almost heard this.
No, don't worry. No, I mean, she's very smart. Yeah, and she's very friendly. I've noticed that too. She's very friendly. She's very hospitable. That I've noticed that from afar. So I can feel it. Yeah.
True.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then she loves knowledge, or at least she communicated her love for knowledge to me personally. Because whenever I was speaking, she'd be taking notes, writing things down. And for me, I'm like that, you know, when I'm learning from people. So I just really loved all of that. And then she loved God. And I saw that she had a very good foundation. I'd gone to a great church. So that we were compatible on many fronts.
Yeah.
You know, of course, not like we didn't have work to do, but the fundamentals were in order. Yes. So
Great. So what about you? What did you really you know, what were the things you saw that made you say, okay, this one is different, he's different, I feel I would spend the rest of my life with him?
I think that difference is the main point. You know how the Samaritan woman went into the city and started telling everybody, come a man who told me everything, I never knew everything about myself. So that was kind of how I felt when I came. And I'm sure I must have shared here before, other platforms, that I had been with different guys before. And I just never felt a man like this was possible. I never thought he'd be God fine, speak good English, be sociable, and all of that at the same time, at least improving in all of them. Just to settle that, okay, pay last, so maybe it's like God wants me to help the men in my life. And so I used to settle. So when I saw him, was like, oh my God. So that was the first point for me, the point that he was different, and he could be different things in one and still godly. I guess the second thing was that he spoke very well. I like people that speak very well, not just in terms of sense, but even in terms of diction. So that was appealing to me. So that talked about personal preferences as well. Then there was the fact that he could lead, which I think is the key thing any woman should be looking for in a husband. A man that can lead. A man that can lead in your finances, lead you in your spiritual life, lead you in your emotions, you know, quote unquote, order your steps. I'm not saying you won't use your brain or anything, but he can guide you even when you bring intelligent ideas to him, and he even allows you have this, go on with those intelligent ideas, but still tune it for you, give you perspective that you don't have, you know. So he's always steps ahead of me, and I really appreciate the fact, because that means I don't have to suffer unnecessary mistakes because someone has gone ahead of me already. So those things really helped. What else? I think I like the fact that he had a good orientation. Yes, here. Sorry, please. I want to switch from my data to my internet modem. Just give me a second, please.
Oh, all right. That's fine. Great, Mr. Terry. You want to marry? Okay. Let us know so we'll follow you and carry him. Your sister? Which of your sister? This is interesting. So basically today we're going to be talking about building and sustaining a relationship. You know, building and sustaining a relationship. Definitely there are ingredients you use in building, and there are also ingredients you use in sustaining it. So build a healthy one and to sustain the relationship. You know, like they usually say, the starting is not always the problem, but to finish it, right? It's very important that you know, we get to learn from people who have been in this you know, in this union, which is why I said we have to bring. Let me see, but all right. So she's back, he is back, and they are back. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Wait,
Sorry about that.
do you know that I'm seeing some resemblance in your eyes? Okay, I'll come back to that. Continue. So you were saying?
Oh yeah, so I was saying that he had a good family orientation. So I mean, my parents did the best with what they knew at the time. But I came from a home where my parents separated when I was young, and I guess that affected a lot of my relational decisions or relationship decisions even back then. Whether I was doing it consciously or unconsciously is another matter. He had a very good orientation about family, and I really needed that. And it motivated me to say, you know what, my parents might have missed it, but there is hope for me to get it better. I think those few things really endeared me to him.
Great. You know, yeah, you mentioned of your background, and I think I mean, a lot of people have been saying that it also plays a part in your relationship. You know, the things you experience at home plays a part also in your relationship. So now, okay, let's what are the how can you build a healthy relationship? Or let's first start with, how would you define what we would call a healthy relationship?
That's a very good question, actually, in terms of defining that. I love the way you actually switched it, because many people don't even know, they don't have the picture of what they are supposed to be working towards, what they're supposed to be building. So because we are dealing with a spiritually intelligent audience or congregation, I'm going to use the first reference point, and that is the union between Christ and the church. Yeah. In fact, Ephesians 5, where Paul begins to talk about, you know, husbands, love your wives and all of that. Sorry.
It's okay.
The chair I'm on is higher than
it's
yeah.
It's great. Yeah, it's okay.
So that particular, I'm gonna put it here. Let's see. So I think it's really, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. We'll get this
It's
right.
okay.
Is it better?
Take your time, relax.
Yes, so that particular chapter is not really about marriage.
Yeah.
It just uses marriage as a metaphor, as a picture. Because one of the things I usually teach is that God is building only one thing. And what is he building? He's building his kingdom. So a marriage is even supposed to be a reflection of what he's building. And that as he's building us, he's building our home. As we're building our home by his power, he's also building us. Anything God calls us to build, he also uses to build us. You know. So the first picture is the walk between Christ and the church. So what's that relationship like for believers? Now, even unbelievers who maybe have what you call decent or healthy marriages, it's still a marriage that might be fulfilling for the earth, but it's not relevant in interpreting the eternal purpose of the kingdom of God. So it's just like having a tuber of yam that is a good, you turn into pounded yam, but then the owner of the house cannot eat it, but it's good. You get what I'm saying? So, but what
the owner of the house doesn't like pounded yam, or is allergic to pounded yam. So what's the point?
Yeah. But what I even wanted to mention was the fact that that picture, you know, is God's picture. And that's a perfect picture. If God says this is a perfect picture, then it's perfect.
Yeah.
So even unbelievers that have what you might call perfect marriages, if you look at their marriages, you're going to see certain attributes of God's perfect picture in that marriage. So things like sacrifice, you know, and that sacrifice is not a one-off thing, is lifetime. Things like putting the other person ahead of yourself. You know, it says that we should love, husbands love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself for her. Now, there's a book I always reference that really helped me before I got married. It's called The Meaning of Marriage by Tim Keller. The Meaning of Marriage. I strongly recommend it. Of course, we read some other books like Norman Wright's 101 Questions, Pastor Bimbo's 165 Questions. Yeah. But for me as a man especially, the book that just really wrecked me, broke me, then built me was That Meaning of Marriage. And it really explained that, see, you have to be willing to die for this woman. Otherwise, just leave her alone. You understand? And that is a serious matter, because, see, if I'm willing to die for her, then I'm willing to give up my sexual passions, strange sexual passions for her, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Once the barrier is already high, every other thing just fades out in insignificance. I can give her money, I can give her my car, I can give her my will, I can give her all of that, because I've already given her my life. So the first thing is, is this marriage reflective of the union between Christ and the church? The heart of that is true. The expression of that true love is primarily sacrifice, putting the other person apart, beyond myself. That also means that what I'm sacrificing is not just money; it's also sacrificing myself. You know.
Yeah.
I hope you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
You know, some things sound, but at the end of the day, discover that when people make decisions, they generally get. Yeah. But that means that something as simple as, so like last night, my wife really wanted us to watch something. And it may not seem like a big deal, right? And it was not a bad thing at all to watch. But I made the sacrifice. It may sound like, sacrifice care. But I'm just using something that is normal, that is regular. Which means the reason I'm doing it, there's some things that you would do because she wants you to do them. Not necessarily because you would do them on a good day, or is your preferred. And some of them will be minor, but most of them may seem minor. But it's the cumulative addition of all of those things that then, you know, changes. For example, like Jesus being, I'm talking a lot now.
No. You know, the purpose of this is to learn from you both, you know, your personal experience, you know, from your knowledge. You know, we just want to learn. People like me now, someone is already screaming on the comment section that I should get married next month. So you see, we need to learn all these things. You know, I was telling your wife before you came on, you know, we are reading so many, you know, tragic stories of relationships, of marriages. People are divorcing in 6 months, in 3 months, in 1 year. You know, just I mean, imagine dating someone for like 11 years, and then you get married and you divorce in a year. So the thing is, what is really happening? I think we just need to go back from the scratch. Okay, how do we build a healthy relationship and then sustain this relationship? You know, so I think for the most part, a lot of the relationship that breaks today probably has a very weak foundation. So the purpose of this session is to you know, to know how do we build a solid foundation, you know, so that, you know, when we get into marriage, we would be able to, you know, keep going and withstand the tribulation. Because some people, like, your wife was saying, there are some things a couple would face and they'll divorce because of it. Another couple will face the same thing, but they won't divorce. So I don't understand what's happening. I mean, the whole thing is like, it's like a movie. Every day, if you go on social media, every day, either someone said you just discovered that his child of 20 years is not his biological child. The wives are complaining that I just discovered my husband has an 11-year-old son outside. You know, things like this. So how do we, like you've mentioned, relationship with God, which is first. Then what are the other things that we need to, you know, what are the other things we need to, you know, put down to lay that solid foundation?
Let me mention 2 things, and then my husband will continue. I know the scripture, but the words keep on moving in my head, so help me. That scripture in Proverbs that says, through wisdom a house is built, through knowledge understanding established, and through knowledge. Okay, so I learned from Miles Monroe about those 3 things. And so the first thing is wisdom, knowledge. So you need to know, you need to learn, and that's the first chapter of my book, in 0 to 10. People go into relationships mesmerized. They go into relationships on the altar of the feelings that they feel. They go into relationship based on fine boy, fine girl, hormones. We are compatible. They're excited, and it seems good. It feels good. So sometimes I'm like, it feels good, so it should be good. But you don't know anything about how a man thinks. You don't know anything about how a woman thinks. You don't know anything. You don't realize that a friendship is different from a romantic relationship. And there are still some plants of differences in your fiancé relationship and then your married relationship. And then there's still yet some difference between that relationship and mommy and daddy relationship.
True.
So different stages of knowledge that you need to embrace even as you start your relationship as just boyfriend and girlfriend. Because if you only think about it short term, you are going to be shocked when the long-term things start coming up. And then you feel like boat is rocked. Nobody prepared me for this. Nobody told me about this. Was it not just late night calls we were doing, saying I love you and I love you? And you think the whole marriage and the whole night you are going to be, I love you, take you out for movies, take you out for dinner.
Yeah.
No, we grow up, life happens, we are adults, responsibilities come up, and we must learn how to deal with that, even in our relationships. Yeah. And so the next thing there is, so knowledge, so you know something, and then you understand it. So these things that you are learning, do you understand them? Do you understand when they say a woman can be emotional? What does that mean to you? How does that now affect how you relate with her? What does it mean when they say when a man is work-oriented? Does that mean you try to stop him from working so that he'll be more emotional? Or does that mean I should infuse myself into his work? Does that mean if he's a banker, I must also be a banker as well? What does that mean for you? So you know something, then you need to understand it. And then the last one, by wisdom the house is filled with treasures. So wisdom, like they say, is now the application. So you know something, you understand what it means for you and the individual you are in the relationship with practically, and not just thinking short term, but long term. And then you now apply it. So like they say, you get married to a person's patterns and not a person's potential. So how has this wisdom been applied consistently in this relationship? Then you cannot begin to predict how the wisdom will be applied, even in similar or unforeseen circumstances when you get married. And it's when you apply the wisdom that you have consistently that your house is now filled with treasures. So your treasures are, oh, we look good together. The treasures are, oh my God, they've been married for 25 years, no scandal. Those are treasures. The treasures are, oh my gosh, they have investment, they are growing financially and not just in love. Those are treasures. But if you truncate the process and say, oh, this guy is giving me wahala, I'm leaving, you will not enjoy the treasures in your house. Like I was saying about Jesus, even Jesus himself went through death threats, went through betrayal and everything, but he needed to keep applying the wisdom of the Father until he got to the cross. Like I said earlier, for the joy that was set ahead. So it's a continuous thing, those processes. And then finally, a healthy relationship also means the two people are healthy as well. And if you have a defect in you, it's going to affect the marriage. It's just like an apple. If a bit of the apple is rotten inside, eventually it's going to spread. And I guess as we go on, we'll talk about the different areas of our life where it should be healthy. On that note, I'll allow my, because I can hear a child crying. I'll be back shortly.
All right. Okay. Yeah, so Pastor.
Yeah, so my wife has done an excellent job, and so I don't have too much more to say. But one of the things I want to say is this: by their fruits you shall know them. So how do you determine the health of a tree? By the fruits that it's bringing forth. So what are the deliverables of marriage? There should be different things. Part of that is the transformation. A lot of people don't realize that one of the biggest blessings of marriage is transformation. Marriage is designed to change you. You know, when people say things like, oh, this is not the man I married, this is not the woman I married. Many times it's because they don't realize that, number one, when people are courting, dating, in a relationship, generally what they are doing is they're putting their best foot forward most times. I'm not even talking about them being pretentious or being hypocritical. That's a part of it. Some people are hypocritical, but many times people are just, you know, it's like you, if you want to attend a presentation where you're speaking at the UN, a UN presentation, you will be extra intentional. I mean, you already look good, you dress well, but you're just going to put in that extra effort to ensure that you oil your beards. You know, you wear a nice jacket.
True.
Maybe you wear lovely patterned shoes and pencil pants, right?
That's true. That's true.
A little extra. So that's what happens. Now, when people now get in the relationship and the person starts showing some other attributes or tendencies, it does not necessarily mean the person is a bad person. It means the person is beginning to expose to you your actual scope of work.
That's true.
The person is actually beginning to let you see how much work you have to do. So part of it is the fruit is transformation. Have I changed? Do I get angry fewer times? And when I get angry, do I recover faster? Am I becoming more patient? Am I becoming more considerate? Am I becoming more deliberate? Am I becoming more sensitive? Do I actually avoid doing things that provoke my spouse? So that's the very first fruit. Transformation is also very similar to our walk with God. Our walk with God is, it's not about how many times I go to a physical building, how big my Bible is, how many passages I can quote. Is how much of the character of Christ is being revealed and reflected in my life. Similarly, in my relationship, how much of the union is being reflected as against just how much of me. Because you didn't marry yourself, you married somebody else. And that's because God knows that there is something in that person that needs to be manifested in your life, and something in your life that needs to be manifested in that person. Right. Then again, it's also important to now look at some other fruit, like what is the collective outcome? What is the collective weight of what we're delivering as a couple, not just as an individual? So that's the fruit. Okay, so what is the shift that's happened, maybe materially or professionally or environmentally or culturally in that person's life? So between the time I got married and now, there are many things that have come out of my life. Books have come out of my life. Cousins have come. I mean, I already wrote some books before I got married. I think I published 2 books or so. But there are many other things I've done that have come as a result of the fact that I have somebody who's covering certain areas for me. Same thing for my wife, that have come out of her, you know, based on my influence and my involvement. Now, if you look at your marriage, and it looks like you're even getting less now that you are married than you were before you were married, maybe that relationship is not healthy. Maybe it's not. If it looks like, oh, right now you lack peace, as in, you used to have more peace before you got married than you do now. That's a warning sign.
I mean,
so
you know, as you mentioned now, how do you deal with a situation like that where, you know, throughout the whole relationship, the courting days, everything was fine. Then you get into marriage and you begin to see something different. Probably, you know, I read people say, after I married my husband or my wife, she started showing me her true colors. You know, I was reading a lady's story one time. He said that, I mean, the guy was the best she has ever had. And then when they got married, I mean, it was like she got married to a totally different person. He started going out, started clubbing, but she never saw him do all these things before. So how do you deal with, you know, such a situation?
All right. So that could be for a variety of reasons. It could be that the guy was actually pretending, because there are actually some people who are hypocritical, who are pretenders.
Yeah.
And it also depends on how long they dated, how well they dated. Because again, people go like, oh, but we dated for 10 years, but you didn't date well. You are not solid in a relationship. Because it's possible for you, like you studying a course, you can study something for 10 years. Somebody else studies this for 3 years. And the person who studies for 3 years does a lot better in that field of endeavor than the person who studied for 10 years.
Yeah.
Why? Because the game is not just about how long, but how well. So did they ask enough questions? Did she see him in a variety of environments and places and scenarios? Did she allow him express himself? You know, how is he when he's angry? That's why we talk about patterns. How is he when he has a lot of money? You know, there's some people who actually have certain vices right now, but people will never know because they don't have enough money to bring the vices out.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
You get what I'm saying? There are some people right now who can cheat for the whole world, but they don't have enough money to bring out the cheat in them. They don't have enough money.
Yeah.
There's people who have tendencies in them to lie. They can lie for Africa. But the condition has not presented itself. You know, so how well did they date and all of that? Now, if you found yourself in that scenario, you're already married, and that's the scenario, then, again, like I mentioned earlier, it's a reflection of the amount of work you have to do, the degree of work. you have to do. It's a lot of work. So part of the work is confronting the issue, because I'll tell you what, George, there are many people who are in relationships, they know something is going bad, they know something is going wrong, but they're just like, let me just leave him. Let me just let sleeping dogs lie. You heard that before.
Yeah.
And what happens when let sleeping dogs lie is that you will discover that that issue will get worse and worse and worse and worse. Now, after facing up the issue, confronting the issue, as believers, in fact, even before facing up any issue as a believer, you should actually pray. Okay, talk to your Heavenly Father. And I say this to a lot of people, especially leaders and mature believers, that see, the power of a conversation is not in the confrontation, it's in the intercession that goes on behind it. Why? Because intercession actually tenderizes your own heart and brings to a place of empathy and sympathy, so that the meaning you're trying to communicate does not get choked up by the anger you're feeling.
True.
You know, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So the Bible, Jesus Christ, that we have a high priest. Imagine, why does Jesus have to be a high priest? Why is it not a judge? Why is it not a magistrate? But because you understand, it's not the magistrate of salvation, the high priest of salvation. Because God knows how He wired us. He knows that if you're going to redeem man, you have to be akin to him. You have to be close to him. You have to be a fellow. You have to have fellowship. Yeah. So prayer needs to be there. And then that person, a serious conversation needs to happen. We're talking about what happens when it looks like someone's pretending you're not married. You know. So that person, the conversation needs to be had, and then there has to be serious exchange. And I think that one of the things I've learned more recent times, particularly in pastoral counseling, which I then apply to different areas, is people do things for a reason. Sometimes they don't know why. Because the why is so deeply embedded in their subconscious or rooted in their history that they themselves don't even know. But it's always traceable. Now, it takes a lot of care and patience to be able to spot those things and then to be qualified to support. Because the fact that you know the answer to something doesn't mean you're qualified to answer it.
Yeah.
So part of what qualifies us to help people is that we care enough for them, in spite of the fact that we know that they need help. You know. So and then if you're married, for me, I see marriage as a long-term project. So get frustrated if there's something I'm trying to get my wife to see. Of course, I might be upset, you know, but that doesn't happen very often. But I never get to the point of frustration, like, okay, get out. I'm like, Because ahead of us, so no problem.
But let's talk about this issue of transformation a little bit. You know, you mentioned transformation. Now, I've heard people say, you cannot change me. You cannot change me. Don't try to change me. You know, things like that. But I've always believed that in a relationship, we are out to make each other better. So if you believe that everything you do is right, everything you do is is a correct thing to do and the best way to do it, and you wouldn't even listen to advice, you wouldn't listen to correction. Some people see correction to mean like you are trying to order them around. So how do you deal with such a partner that doesn't see an issue with their character that may be wrong and may be hurting you, but they just tell you, don't change me, this is how you met me, so leave me like that, stuff. So how do you deal with such a partner?
Well, for me, a couple of things. Number one is, well, no particular order, but number one of the things that could affect that is how you are even trying to pass that message across. Because sometimes, whether you are the man or the woman, the way you are saying it can sound as if you are antagonizing them, or can sound as if you are attacking them or judging them or belittling them, right? Especially if the person already has some insecurities in some other areas, and then you now come and dump that one on him or her. And for most men, I guess, if they feel attacked, they are going to shut off. They are going to come. They're going to go into their man cave, and you don't want that to happen. I mean, to your husband or to your fiance if you are the woman here. So the manner of approach is very important. That's number one. Number two, you mentioned something about intercession being the first conversation you have before the real conversation. So like he also said, in the place of prayer, you could also find some pointers and indicators to why he is acting out like that. So I think a questioning, when I say questioning, how will I say now, a questioning approach is better than a, you did this, you are a bad person, you never switch off the lights, you never turn off every time, that's how you do. No, it's more like, okay, I noticed over the past few weeks that this has been happening. Is there any particular reason why? When you do X, Y, and X, Y, Z, this is how I feel. Do you realize that this is hurting me? As in, so you question, you dialogue, you converse, as opposed to attacking, right? Then, like he also said, patience. So the person might actually hear what you are saying, really, but either because of pride or because they have been this way for a very long time, to now start changing her, it's not going to happen overnight. So you need to be patient enough to see the change happen, and then celebrate the small changes that you see on the way along the get to the big change. I think those are a few things I can think of.
Very. I'll just add that again, one of the things that, and it's amazing how you can be doing something, but then you start learning other things. So one of the things I've also learned is show people a better picture. Almost true that you really can't change people. I feel like drawing a diagram, but
because like Joe said, I feel you can influence people.
Absolutely,
so,
absolutely, you can influence people. But what I'm saying is, they did a research. You know, people say it. You can't change me. That's who I am. And they actually did a research that most people who are over 25 never change significantly. It's crazy. But this is what I discovered about people. If you show people, and this is what Jesus does for us, if you show people a better picture of themselves, they will grow into that. When people say that you can't change me, it's true, but it's partially true, which means it's false. Okay? When they say you can't change me, the me they're talking about is the me they've known themselves to be, which is only a tiny slice of their entire possibility. And because people don't like to be wrong, they like to remain consistent with the previous versions of themselves because it's a safe space. We don't like unfamiliarities. We don't like new environments and new spaces. So if they throw you in a new place, the first thing you do in a new place is that you keep to yourself. And wow. Now the world is like that crowded space where I know my zone. People say I know my level. That level is a false representation of your possibility. But it's a comfort zone because you are used to it. You are comfortable there. So when people say that you cannot change me, a part of it is actually fear of losing what I know to be myself.
Fear of losing control.
Like going to a party for the first time and then, you know, like highbrow, top-notch dinner. And then you have like 17 pieces of cutlery.
You're like, Che, which one I go use? You just oh my God.
And you have 5 different glasses. You don't know which one is juice, which one is for wine, which one is for water, which one is for anything. What do you engage? You don't engage.
You look around.
You chill and you're looking around. And once you get a chance to escape and you find a corner where people are using their hand to take their amala, you feel comfortable with that.
Definitely.
But if you now show certain people, like I'm using material descriptions, and do you know what? That's the Prime Minister of Sweden. And if you really want to meet that person, you have to be able to eat with her. You know, isn't it? Once people have that picture, like, once in a lifetime opportunity. I missed it today, but tomorrow's dinner. Between today and tomorrow, I'll watch all the YouTube videos. As against if the person's at dinner and the person sticks away from the table to go and be eating, what's wrong with you? You're always using your hand. You're always using your hand. What have you done? You've double confirmed their insecurities, and you've shut out the possibility of them evolving and enrolling in your mentoring school in that area.
That's
because
true.
nobody likes to learn from a wicked teacher.